Have you ever wondered how a small pouch placed under the lip became a product used by millions of people around the world? The history of snus is far older, stranger, and more fascinating than most people imagine. It is a story that begins not in modern factories or convenience stores, but hundreds of years ago, long before the first nicotine pouch was ever created. To understand snus, we first need to travel back to the Americas. Long before Europeans arrived, indigenous peoples had already been cultivating and using tobacco for centuries. Tobacco played an important role in daily life, trade, rituals, and traditional medicine. Different communities used it in different ways, but it was already one of the most valuable plants on the continent. Everything changed when European explorers crossed the Atlantic and encountered tobacco for the first time. The plant quickly attracted attention. Sailors, merchants, and travelers carried tobacco back to Europe, where it spread at an astonishing speed. During the 16th and 17th centuries, tobacco transformed from an exotic curiosity into one of the most desired products on the continent. At first, many Europeans believed tobacco had medicinal properties. Doctors recommended it for various illnesses, while wealthy nobles viewed it as a fashionable luxury. One of the most popular forms was snuff, a finely ground tobacco powder that users inhaled through the nose. Decorative snuff boxes became symbols of wealth and status, especially among aristocrats and members of royal courts. But while snuff dominated many parts of Europe, Sweden began developing a different relationship with tobacco. Swedish users experimented with moist tobacco that could be placed inside the mouth rather than inhaled. Over time, this method evolved into what would eventually become known as snus. Unlike dry tobacco products, snus was moist and designed to be placed under the upper lip. This allowed users to consume nicotine without smoking and without inhaling tobacco smoke. For many workers, farmers, sailors, and laborers, snus became a practical option that could be used throughout the day. As the Industrial Revolution transformed Europe, tobacco production also changed. Factories increased output, improved consistency, and made products more affordable. Snus became increasingly common throughout Sweden, gradually establishing itself as an important part of Swedish culture. Early snus looked quite different from the products people know today. It was often sold loose, requiring users to shape a portion with their fingers before placing it under the lip. While this worked, it could be messy and inconvenient compared to modern standards. The 20th century brought major innovations. Manufacturing technology improved, production became more efficient, and companies searched for ways to make snus easier to use. One of the most important breakthroughs was the introduction of portion pouches. Instead of handling loose tobacco, users could simply place a ready-made pouch under the lip. This seemingly simple innovation changed everything. Portion snus was cleaner, easier to carry, easier to use, and more appealing to new consumers. As a result, its popularity continued to grow throughout Sweden. Around the same time, public attitudes towards cigarettes began changing. Scientific studies increasingly linked smoking to serious health risks, leading many people to reconsider their habits. Some smokers began looking for alternatives, and snus gained attention as one of several nicotine products available on the market. Although snus became deeply rooted in Swedish culture, its acceptance outside Sweden was far more complicated. Different countries adopted different regulations regarding tobacco products. Some allowed sales, some imposed restrictions, and others introduced outright bans. As a result, the international history of snus became closely connected to politics, regulation, and public health debates. Manufacturers also continued improving their production processes. Modern facilities introduced advanced quality control systems, laboratory testing, and more consistent manufacturing standards. Today's products are produced very differently from the tobacco mixtures used centuries ago. Then came another major transformation: nicotine pouches. Unlike traditional snus, nicotine pouches do not contain tobacco leaf material. Instead, they deliver nicotine through specially designed pouches that are often white, discreet, and available in a wide range of flavors. The arrival of nicotine pouches dramatically expanded the market. New consumers who had never used traditional snus became interested in these products. Companies launched mint, berry, citrus, coffee, and countless other flavor varieties. Modern packaging and international marketing helped nicotine pouches spread rapidly across many countries. The rise of social media accelerated this trend even further. Online communities, influencers, reviews, and discussions introduced millions of people to products they might never have discovered otherwise. Information traveled faster than ever before, helping transform nicotine pouches into a global phenomenon. As popularity increased, debates intensified. Researchers continued studying nicotine products and their effects, while governments worked to determine how these products should be regulated. Public health organizations, manufacturers, consumers, and policymakers often disagreed about the best approach, making the industry one of the most actively discussed sectors in the modern nicotine market. Today, consumers have more choices than at any point in history. Traditional loose snus, portion snus, nicotine pouches, cigarettes, vaping products, and many other alternatives compete for attention. The market continues evolving as technology advances and consumer preferences change. Looking back, it is remarkable to see how far this product has come. What began centuries ago with the cultivation of tobacco in the Americas eventually evolved into sophisticated modern products sold around the world. From indigenous traditions to European trade routes, from Swedish factories to international markets, every stage of history helped shape the products we see today. The story of snus is not simply the story of tobacco. It is a story about exploration, trade, technology, culture, innovation, and changing consumer habits across generations. Whether future nicotine products look completely different or continue building on existing designs, their roots can still be traced back through hundreds of years of history. And that is how a simple tobacco product evolved into one of the most recognizable nicotine products in the world.